Okay, let's dive in. When you think about fish, maybe you picture something, I don't know, simple, like a minnow or your pet goldfish.
Sure. That's the common image.
But imagine this. 2/3 of all freshwater fish species out there, and we're talking over 10,000 species. Everything from tiny tetras to those giant catfish in the Amazon.
A huge group.
They have this really intricate middle ear structure, and, well, the amazing thing is it uses the exact same mechanical principle as those three tiny bones in your own ear.
It really is an incredible bit of evolutionary engineering. And it's right at the heart of a new discovery that's, frankly, rewriting the family tree for this massive, massive group of fish.
Okay.
So our deep dive today looks at new research, led by paleontologist Wan Liu. Her team used just one small fossil, about 67 million years old,
Wow.
and found that this incredibly successful group of freshwater fish, they didn't start where we always thought they did.
Right. The old story was a single origin story, wasn't it? Back on the supercontinent Pangea?
That was the consensus, yes. But this new work suggests something completely different. It turns out this dominant group, they're called otophysins,
Odophysins. Okay.
which literally just means ear bladder fishes, referring to this special hearing setup.
Ah, makes sense.
They actually came from a marine ancestor, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And they moved into freshwater not just once, but at least twice. Two separate events.
From the ocean. That flips the script entirely.
It does.
Yeah.
And the key to their huge success, the sort of innovation that let them diversify like crazy, it's that specialized hearing system you mentioned, the Weberian apparatus.
The Weberian apparatus. Okay, so before we get to the fossil itself, we really need to understand how this hearing superpower works.
Absolutely. Let's break it down.
So the basic physics first. Fish have this inherent problem, right? Their bodies are mostly water, basically the same density as the water around them,
Exactly.
which means sound waves just kind of pass right through, like trying to hear through a wall that's made of the same stuff as the sound wave itself. An eardrum like ours wouldn't work.
It'd be useless. The sound wouldn't even register properly. So how does a fish hear anything more than just a nearby thud or vibration?
Yeah, how?
They need a biological workaround.
Yeah.
A hack, really. And the solution is pretty clever. It involves the air bladder.
The swim bladder, the thing they use for buoyancy.
Yeah, often called the swim bladder, though air bladders may be more accurate for this context. Essentially, it's this bubble of air inside the fish. Air is much less dense than water, obviously.
Yeah.
So when sound waves travel through the water and hit this air bubble, the bubble vibrates.
Yeah.
It acts like a tiny internal microphone diaphragm, picking up the sound.
Ah, I see. So the bubble itself becomes the sound receiver, like the body of an acoustic guitar vibrating.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Exactly. But here's the thing. In most fish, especially typical ocean fish, the connection between that vibrating bubble and the actual inner ear where the sensing happens, it's pretty basic, rudimentary.
So it works, but maybe not very well.
It works, but it limits them. They mostly pick up low-frequency sounds, think bass notes.
So if you're a standard saltwater fish, you're hearing the ocean's rumble, but maybe not the higher-pitched clicks or whistles.
Precisely. That simple system usually cuts off around, say, 200 hertz. Below that, they're okay. Above that, not so much.
Right.
If you want to hear finer details, higher frequencies, you need something better. You need amplification.
And that's where this Weberian apparatus comes in, the ear bladder system of the odophysins.
That's it. This is what sets apart the catfish, the carps, the minnows, the tetras. It's like a biological Rube Goldberg machine for hearing.
And it's not just soft tissue, right? You mentioned bones earlier. This is a physical bony connection.
It absolutely is. The Weberian apparatus is a series of small, specialized bones, ossicles, just like the little bones in our middle ear, the malleus, antiochus, and stapes.
Okay.
These fish ossicles form a mechanical chain. They physically link that vibrating air bladder directly to the fluids of the inner ear.
Wait, hang on. The anatomy here is pretty wild. I read that one of the key bones involved, the tripus, that's actually a modified rib bone and part of a vertebra.
That's absolutely correct. Evolution literally took parts of the fish's skeleton, the rib, bits of the spine, and repurposed them, turned them into components of this sensitive hearing device. The tripus acts like a lever, physically transmitting the vibrations.
A rib bone inside the fish, acting like an ear bone.
Yeah.
That's basically like having an internal stethoscope built from your own skeleton.
It's an extremely effective one. It takes those relatively weak vibrations from the air bladder and significantly boosts them. And crucially, it allows the fish to perceive much higher frequencies.
How high are we talking?
Well, while most ocean fish are stuck below 200 hertz, a fish like the common zebrafish, which has this apparatus, can hear sounds up to 15,000 hertz.
15,000, that's getting close to human hearing range. We top out around 20,000 hertz, right?
It's remarkably sensitive hearing for a fish.
Wow. Okay, so think about the zebrafish could potentially hear sounds higher pitched than, maybe older adults can hear. Makes you think twice about splashing around near a riverbank.
It certainly gives them a much richer acoustic world.
So this is clearly an evolutionary game changer, a superpower. But the big question has always been, when did this high-definition hearing evolve? We need fossils for that, right? Evidence from the past.
And that leads us directly to the star of this new research.
The fossil.
The fossil. Its name is Acronichthys maccagnoi, a tiny little fish, only about 2 inches long.
2 inches?
Yep. And it dates back 67 million years. So, late Cretaceous period.
Just before the asteroid then, before the non-avian dinosaurs checked out.
Right at the very end, yes. This particular fossil was found in Alberta, Canada. Now, there have been other older fossils thought to be odophysins, but Acronichthys was special.
Why? What made it stand out?
Its preservation was exceptional. Crucially, that delicate Weberian apparatus, those tiny hearing bones, was remarkably intact. It's the oldest known fossil of this group from North America where you could actually see the structure clearly.
Okay, so a tiny ancient fish with its hearing gear preserved. But the research team, Lou's team, they didn't just look at it under a magnifying glass, did they? They used some pretty high-tech methods.
Oh, absolutely. They treated it almost like an engineering problem. They used things like 3D X-ray scans, really powerful ones from facilities like the Canadian Light Source and CT scans.
Get a digital model?
Exactly. A super precise 3D digital blueprint of the fossil's skull and those tiny ossicles.
Yeah.
But then they did something even cooler with that model.
Which was?
They ran simulations. They used a technique called finite element analysis.
Finite element analysis. Okay, what does that mean for a fossil fish ear? Can you break that down for us?
Think of it like a virtual crash test, but for sound. Instead of physically messing with the precious 67-million-year-old fossil.
Probably a good idea.
Definitely. They took the digital model, this virtual structure of the bones, and they applied simulated forces, essentially, simulated sound waves hitting the air bladder's location. The software then calculated how those tiny ossicles, the modified ribs and vertebrae, would vibrate and transmit that sound energy to the inner ear.
So they listened through the ears of a fish that died before the dinosaurs did. Virtually.
In essence, yes. They tested its hearing capabilities computationally.
That's incredible. And what did the simulation reveal about Acronichthys' hearing? Was the apparatus working back then?
The results were pretty clear and kind of surprising. They found that this 67-million-year-old fish had a Weberian apparatus that was, and I quote, fully functional.
Fully functional.
Yep, and its hearing was nearly as sensitive as its modern relative, the zebrafish.
So this hearing superpower wasn't some recent upgrade. It was already well established way back then.
It absolutely was. The simulation even pinpointed its peak sensitivity, the frequency range it heard best. That was between 500 and 1,000 hertz.
Okay, so maybe not the full 15,000 hertz of a modern zebrafish, but still way beyond that basic 200 hertz limit.
Definitely. It confirmed this key anatomical innovation was highly effective, providing a wide range of hearing 67 million years ago. And that piece of evidence forced the team to completely rethink the evolutionary origin story of this whole group.
Right, because the old consensus, like you said, was a single freshwater origin, maybe 180 million years ago on Pangea. The idea being the apparatus evolved then, and the continent splitting carried the fish apart.
That view just doesn't hold up with this new data. By combining the fossil evidence with modern genetic data from living fish, well, Lou said they got completely different results.
So what's the new timeline?
The revised timeline puts the emergence of the autophysine group, the common ancestor, much later, around 154 million years ago. That's late Jurassic.
Late Jurassic. Hang on, 154 million years ago. Pangea was already breaking up by then, wasn't it? The Atlantic Ocean was starting to form.
That's the crucial point. It means the most recent common ancestor of all these fish. It wasn't living in a freshwater river on Pangea. It was most likely a marine lineage, living in the ocean.
They came from the sea.
Yeah.
But they're almost all freshwater fish today. That seems totally backwards.
It's counterintuitive, absolutely. Over 95% of them live in freshwater now. But the evidence points to marine origins.
So, okay, if the ancestor was marine, maybe it already had the potential for this Weberian apparatus, but
Yeah.
why did it only become super successful, fully functional, after they moved into freshwater? Was the ocean, too quiet or something?
That's a really great question and likely part of the answer. Think about the acoustic environments. The open ocean,
Mm,
It's a relatively uniform, acoustically speaking. Lots of low-frequency background noise.
right.
Freshwater environments, though, rivers, streams, lakes, ponds, they are incredibly diverse and complex acoustically. You've got rushing water, waterfalls, quiet pools, shallow areas where sound bounces around.
Much noisier, or at least more varied.
It's exactly. More varied, more complex soundscapes. Navigating, finding food, avoiding predators in that kind of environment. It puts a much higher premium on sophisticated hearing. The Weberian apparatus likely offered a massive advantage there that it perhaps didn't in the more uniform ocean. It really proved its worth in freshwater.
Okay, so move to freshwater was key, and this leads to the other huge finding, right? It wasn't just one move.
No, and this is critical. Liu's research indicates that the original marine lineage split, and then at least two separate groups independently moved from the marine environment into freshwater.
Two different invasions of the continent's rivers and lakes.
At least two. And it was only after these separate incursions into freshwater that the Weberian apparatus seems to have become fully refined and functional, leading to their success.
Can you break down those two main lineages that made the jump? Who descended from who?
Sure. So lineage number one of these incursions, eventually gave rise to the modern catfish, the electric knifefish, and also the tetras and their relatives found in Africa and South America.
Okay, that's a big group already. Catfish and tetras.
A very big group. Then, lineage number two, a separate move into freshwater, gave rise to the carps, the suckers, the minnows, and the zebrafish.
Ah, the zebrafish again.
And that second group, the sopriniforms, that's now the single largest order of freshwater fishes on the planet. They absolutely dominate freshwater ecosystems in many parts of the world.
So it wasn't like one single invention and then spread. It was more like figure out this amazing hearing trick, maybe have the beginnings of it in the
The
ocean,
potential, yeah.
and then boom, move into freshwater, refine the trick and explode. And then boom, another group does basically the same thing independently.
That repetition is what Liu emphasizes. These repeated incursions into freshwater at the early divergence stage, as she puts it, combined with finally perfecting this innovative hearing system. That's what accelerated speciation.
It allowed them to carve out niches.
Precisely. The enhanced hearing let them exploit all those varied, acoustically complex freshwater habitats in ways their simpler hearing ancestors, marine or otherwise, just couldn't. And that combination, repeated environmental invasion plus a key sensory advantage, that's the recipe for the extraordinary hyperdiversity we see in autophyton fishes today.
It's fascinating. It really underscores that massive evolutionary success stories aren't always about just one single eureka moment. Sometimes it's about having a great tool, this amazing hearing apparatus, and then persistently applying it, maybe even reapplying it in a challenging new environment.
That pattern innovation plus repeated ecological opportunity seems to be incredibly powerful. It literally reshaped the biodiversity of the world's rivers and lakes.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This incredible sensory ability.
Yeah, it brings up a lingering question. If we step back and think about the implications, why did they need such good hearing? Why evolve the ability to hear up to 15,000 hertz?
I mean, they live in such different places now. You've got fish in crashing, noisy mountain streams, and others in dead quiet, muddy ponds.
Right. The general idea is that the sheer complexity of freshwater sounds, prey movements, predator warnings, maybe even communication between fish drove the evolution of this wide frequency range. But the specific environmental pressures that selected for hearing sensitivity right up near the human limit, that's still a bit of a mystery. What exactly in those ancient rivers 60 million years ago, or even today, requires hearing a 15,000 hertz tone?
That's a great point. Maybe tiny insect sounds, bat echolocation bouncing off the water, communication signals we haven't deciphered.
Could be any of those, or something else entirely. It's an open question, really. It just goes to show that even with one of the most successful, most numerous groups of vertebrates on Earth, there are still these fundamental evolutionary puzzles hiding just beneath the surface of the water, waiting for the next deep dive.